Greetings and welcome. This is the Cell Guru Show. My name is Rajiv Makhni and the name of the phones that I have on the show today are absolutely epic. Now, some of them are really long names. I'll give you an example. Oppo F19 Pro plus 5G. Okay, that's just me getting started. Warming up. Redmi, as in the Redmi Note 10 Pro Max. And of course, this is simpler, Redmi Note 10. Plus, we'll talk about the Lava phone that's been built in collaboration with Corning. This is a military-grade phone. Yes, for about 5,000 rupees, you're actually getting a mobile phone, a smartphone that is certified military-grade. That and a whole lot more happening on the Cell Guru Show. And of course, we're going to get started with news coming in from the world of mobiles. And one of my favorite phones has got its next generation, the ASUS ROG 5. Yes, they've skipped 4. We'll get down to why they did that. We'll actually have a chat with them next week. Let's take a look. The brand new ASUS ROG 5 phone just launched.
ASUS has finally launched the ROG Phone 5, a device that is laser focused on improving your game with a faster processor, faster display, faster storage and possibly the most packed spec sheet around. For the first time, ASUS has launched 3 variants in a series, starting with the regular ROG Phone 5, this ROG Phone 5 Pro and ROG Phone 5 Ultimate. The big difference among the 3 models is that ROG Phone 5 offers 8GB and 12GB RAM options, while the Phone 5 Pro comes with 16GB of RAM and the 5 Ultimate comes with 18GB of RAM. All the 3 phones are powered by the latest and the fastest Snapdragon 888 along with Adreno 660 GPU. ASUS ROG 5 comes with a triple rear camera setup that houses a 64-megapixel primary sensor, features a 6.7-inch Full HD Plus display with 144Hz refresh rate and also includes an all-new thermal design called GameCool 5. The ASUS ROG 5 is priced starting 49,999 rupees. The 5 Pro carries a price tag of 69,999 rupees for 16GB, 512GB configuration. The Ultimate comes at 79,999 rupees for 18GB and 512GB configuration.
And now let's move on to our top story. We have 2 top stories. We'll start off with, of course, the phones from Redmi. The Redmi Note 10 Pro Max and the Redmi Note 10. Now, I have to tell you that it's a very anticipated launch, but I had said this a few weeks back that when these phones are going to be launched, there are too many other brands that have come into this market. At one time, these guys dominated. There was literally nothing. When the Note came out, it obliterated the competition because there really wasn't much. Now there's a lot of competition. And the second thing, while these phones are really good, in fact, the Note 10 Pro Max is absolutely outstanding. Once again, it's the number game that Xiaomi is really playing, 108 megapixel and stuff like that. Now what happens with this is that they've now created a small problem for themselves. Their Mi 10i and the Redmi Note 10 Pro Max have ended up being very, very similar. I mean, why should you buy one over the other? And the other part that I have to say is the Note 10, the next generation of the Note, is pretty much an average phone. I think the competition will easily catch up and defeat it. Let's take a look at our reviews.
Xiaomi has consistently pushed the gauntlet when it comes to mid-range hardware, and like every year, the latest Redmi Note 10 series of phones is redefining what you can expect from affordably priced phones. So when the company brings in flagship grade specs to a budget price point, it really makes you wonder if you even need to buy a high-end smartphone anymore. A phone is, however, more than a sum of its parts, and we find out if the Redmi Note 10 and Redmi Note 10 Pro Max are worth your money in our review. First up, the design. This year, Xiaomi brings a new design language called Evil, and the Note 10 Pro Max looks absolutely stunning. Available in 3 colors, the vintage bronze is our favorite. There's toughened glass at the back and Gorilla Glass 5 at the front, protecting a large 6.67-inch display. That display is the first standout feature. Not only is it a full HD Super AMOLED panel, but the phone gets a 120Hz refresh rate that truly enhances the user experience through smoother animations and scrolling. Xiaomi has also tossed in stereo speakers and a very quick to unlock side mounter fingerprint reader. Overall, the ergonomics are fantastic and the Redmi Note 10 Pro Max is surprisingly slim and comfortable to hold with its sub 200 gram weight. All-day usage is no problem at all. Despite that slim profile, Xiaomi has managed to slot in a 5020 mAh battery here. Charging the phone is quick and the included 33 watt takes 90 minutes to top off the phone. Powering the show here is Snapdragon 732G and 6GB of RAM. It's not the fastest processor in the segment, but gaming aside, it easily held up to our busy daily use. Games work fine, but the phone might not be able to crank out the best quality settings. Now let's talk cameras. The 108 megapixel primary sensor is the real showstopper here. The high-resolution sensor captures excellent-looking images with consistent exposure and fast focus locks. The white balance is quite accurate too. The phone does well at preserving highlights with some details lost in darker regions. Low-light images were impressive too. Meanwhile, the 8 megapixel ultra-wide camera does the job for the price, but it isn't particularly exciting. What's exciting, however, is the 5 megapixel tele macro lens. This lets you take macro shots from a longer distance and the results speak for themselves. We were also impressed by the selfies taken from this phone. All in all, the Redmi Note 10 Pro Max is gunning for glory, and it is hard to beat the hardware features on offer here. However, it is the fit and finish software package that really seals the deal and makes the phone perhaps the best mid-range smartphone. The phone is priced starting 18,999 rupees. A lower-end Redmi Note 10 Pro is also available with similar specs, but a 64 megapixel camera instead. On the budget side, the Redmi Note 10 focuses on affordability without skipping features. While the design remains the same, gone is the 120Hz display. Instead, users get a 60Hz Super AMOLED panel with Gorilla Glass 3. Additionally, the processor gets a downgrade to the Snapdragon 678. Performance, however, is still plenty good for the money. Finally and predictably, the camera has been switched from the 108 megapixel sensor to a 48 megapixel primary camera. The results are competitive. Additionally, the phone has a 2 megapixel micro sensor instead. Priced at starting 11,999 rupees, the Redmi Note 10 makes for the perfect entry-level smartphone and an easy recommendation.
Let's move on now to our next top story, and that is the Oppo F19 Pro Plus 5G. Yes, that is pretty much the entire name of the phone. The good part is that the name is big and some of the features also are. Now it's an Oppo, so therefore they've got to play the entire camera, excellent pictures, excellent video. And video is where this phone totally and absolutely shines. So it's got all that usually Oppo does. I mean, it's great looking, very nice materials, very thin, very light. But once again, it's the optics that it really stands out with. Let's take a look.
2021 is here and the camera wars are going strong. With the launch of the Oppo F19 Pro Plus, Oppo has added yet another competitor to the long list of great camera phones on a budget. Oppo has priced this phone at 25,990 rupees, and at that price, is the camera the only great thing about this phone, or does the focus shift elsewhere too? Here's our review. Let's get to the important stuff first. The camera array on the Oppo F19 Pro Plus is massive. It is a quad camera system which will not disappoint you at all. There is a 48MP main lens, an 8MP wide-angle camera, a 2MP portrait camera and a 2MP macro sensor. We take optics very seriously here, and when we say that the F19 Pro Plus has great cameras, you better believe it. There are multiple modes to shoot with, and not just photography, even videography is amazing here. There is a dedicated AI highlight video mode and an ultra steady mode for shooting great videos. Usually the macro lens is something to avoid, but Oppo has done some great work here and the photos came out looking very crisp with great colors. On the front of the phone is a 16MP selfie camera that takes some really good selfies. For the price of this device, we were more than satisfied with the camera performance. And talking about good performance, the Oppo F19 Pro Plus also comes with a MediaTek Dimensity 800U chip paired with 8GB of RAM, which means that it is a beast. The 800U is MediaTek's latest offering and it ensures that the F19 Pro Plus runs smooth. During our time with the phone, we didn't experience any lags or performance issues. Gaming on this phone was also a breeze, with the processor handling everything with ease. The Oppo F19 Pro Plus is not a small phone. There is a 6.4-inch Super AMOLED screen which has become the norm in this price range. The screen has a resolution of 2400 by 1080 and the color reproduction here is very good. However, we missed having a higher refresh rate as Oppo has capped the display at 60 Hz. Other than that, we didn't have any complaints with the screen. Talking about complaints, we did have some in terms of the build quality. While the Oppo F19 Pro Plus has a premium look, its glossy back is prone to catching fingerprints. If you can look past that, the phone feels good in the hand. Despite the size, it only weighs 173 grams. The Oppo F19 Pro Plus ships with a 4310 mAh cell. While it is not the biggest battery around, it still manages to power the phone through the day. And if you're in need of some extra juice, the phone ships with a 50-watt fast charger in the box, which means that the phone tops up in no time and you're good to go. There is an in-display fingerprint scanner which is not very fast, but it does the job. We really liked that the Oppo F19 Pro Plus even retains the 3.5mm audio jack, something that is increasingly vanishing from the smartphone market. There is 128GB storage on board here and the phone retails for 25,990 rupees. Oppo has thrown its hat into the ring with the F19 Pro Plus as the phone can go toe-to-toe with some of the best mid-range flagships. If you don't mind using a 60Hz screen in a world full of 90 to 120Hz screens, then the Oppo F19 Pro Plus is the phone for you.
Let's take a quick break right now on the show. Lots happening on the Cell Guru Show. I'm going to tell you something very, very interesting. A number that you may not be familiar with. 400 million people in India still use feature phones, and the main reason, this has actually been now documented, the main reason that they're not switching to a smartphone, even the prices of smartphones have really dramatically gone down and performance has become really good in budget phones. The main reason that they're not switching is the build quality. You know, feature phones, small little screen, even if the phone kind of falls, it usually survives. But smartphones, feature phone users at least think they are very fragile, very delicate, will break. Well, Lava and Corning collaborated together and came up with the Lava Z1. This is a military grade phone, so absolutely tough as nails.
Remarkable that there are still more than 400 million feature phone users in India who are yet to shift to a smartphone. India is one of the last countries where such a large number of feature phone users exist, and one of the biggest factors is durability. The ability to withstand rigors of daily use is a big criteria for first-time potential smartphone buyers, as they find smartphones way more delicate than their robust little feature phones. After all, who wants to spend big bucks on their first smartphone only for it to break after a fall? Enter the Lava Z1, a phone made from the ground up to combat just that huge pain point for first-time smartphone buyers. And to achieve that, they collaborated with Corning Gorilla Glass and came up with the world first and affordably priced military-grade smartphone that is designed and built in India. The Lava Z1 not only packs all the features you could need in your phone, but also brings you the peace of mind that comes with Gorilla Glass protection. The Lava Z1 is completely designed in India and tested to MIL 810H specs. This phone is built like a tank.
So gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me. Lava will be the first mobile device manufacturer in India to sell around 5,000 rupee military grade smartphone featuring Corning Gorilla Glass 3. So how did this happen? Who came up with the idea? Who spoke to whom? Corning to Lava or the other way around?
The partnership on the new Z1 device was actually Lava's idea from the standpoint of getting manufacturing done in India and coming up with a phone that could really resonate with the internal market in India. Corning came in when Lava approached us for our help relative to the design. They had a design concept in mind, and they wanted to make sure that we could work with them on how to make the device more robust with our glass. So it ended up being very much a partnership, but the original idea was all Lava's.
Okay, that's fantastic. Now, why is this such an important breakthrough in feature for smartphones that most feature phone users will be transitioning to?
So we figured out that the topmost priority at the time of purchase for a phone is durability. And that's where we wanted to solve that particular problem, because when you move to a smartphone, your display size gets bigger, and therefore the most delicate part of the phone is the display. And that's where we thought we must find a solution to the problem, and so that there is enough confidence among consumers that when they use this phone, it won't break easily. So that's when we reached out to the Corning team, because there's no doubt in the fact that Corning is the toughest glass in the world. But what was important for us, that how do we make it much more durable at the design level itself, so that these consumers can get the experience, can get the durability that they seek from a device. And that's when we spoke to the Corning team. The two engineering teams worked together, and the output is that this is the device which we believe is one of the most durable phones in the world, so to say.
What Lava has done here is it's created a military-grade spec design. It's a US 810H military-grade spec, and with the 2D design as well as how the glass is protected through the bezels, we do believe that people will come into this particular market with this phone with an immense amount of confidence.
Now, I have to ask you this question because, the thing that I'm very glad that it's there, but I'm really, really shocked and surprised that this wasn't done before. I mean, the technology was there, right? The right price and the will. Why was this not done before?
I think it's a combination of all of those factors, Rajiv. I think that Lava made a very good leap here, and it was their understanding of the feature phone and smartphone markets, as well as what was required for the transition for consumers in the particular geography. And therefore, they were able to bridge that gap very seamlessly and start speaking with us about what was required and what issues that they had. So that helped push this forward.
One more reason is because of our own capability that we have built in India in terms of setting up our own R&D center. So when you're dependent on external resources, so that you don't really get that full control on the experience of the phone. Now that the whole setup is with us, we are running the R&D center in India. So we are now confident that what we do for consumers will really be valuable for them.
Sunil, I want to ask you this question. Why did Lava think that Corning Gorilla Glass is important? Because at these lower prices, is there brand awareness? I mean, do people who are moving from a feature phone to a smartphone understand what Corning Gorilla Glass is?
So I think the primary communication medium would be the retailers who these consumers trust the most, and the awareness among them is very high. And also we are also looking at various ways to reach out to consumers directly and communicate to them, be it at the store, be it at the online spaces, or any offline medium that we can use. So holistically, we are looking at making sure that the retailer is able to communicate the goodness of the phone to the consumers, and we are also able to directly reach to the consumers through various other means that we can deploy.
Dr. Jayman, I'm going to ask you this question. Corning Gorilla Glass now designed into more than 8 billion devices on more than 45 major brands. Why is Corning Gorilla Glass used by so many brands? Is this a push from consumers? Do they demand it?
We work with great partners like Lava. Corning has phenomenal relationships with customers. We tend to work extremely closely with our customers, working hand in hand with them to design devices. We also bring all of our modeling capabilities and our scientific knowledge to the floor in relationships and make sure that they have access to them.
Another question to you. So what exactly is Corning Gorilla Glass 3 military grade? Is this just like what normal Corning Gorilla Glass is? Is this a special enhancement?
Typically, Rajiv, glasses aren't military certified. It's the actual device design that gets certified through a series of tests that you have to do in order to make sure that it meets all of the military grade requirements. Gorilla Glass 3 is significantly more scratch resistant and more durable than Soda-Lime. The combination of that, as well as the design that we worked with Lava on, is what makes this phone a military grade phone.
Well, on that very optimistic note that eventually every single phone, not just budget phones, every phone including flagship phones will be military grade. This is Rajiv Makni saying goodbye. I'll see you next week. Very exciting show including the ASUS ROG 5.